to do this? And he said, I don't. It comes from their public school, middle school, and high school bands. They learn this there before they ever come to Purdue. And he said, do these people ever get recognized? Does anybody really realize what's going on in these schools? And Dr. Wright said, no, they really don't understand. And Mr. Sudler said, we have to solve that. And he made a great donation. He made it possible to create the Sousa Foundation and to create the awards. And the first of these awards was the Sudler Flag of Honor that we're going to present tonight. They wanted it to be extremely special. They want it to be not just for everybody, but for those high school programs that stand out in just very specific and special ways. Give you a little background there about what that means to older kids today. It started in 1983, and since 1983, for those 40 years, there are a total of 87 of these flags in band rooms when we finish here tonight and one next week. There'll be 87. That's out of, in the United States alone, 25,000 high schools. 25,000 high schools. And that doesn't count that 2 years ago, we were in Japan presenting one in Japan. So it's truly international. And in 40 years, there's 87 of these. That alone makes it a very big deal. Second thing I would say about it, you can go to a contest and win the contest. You can go back next year and maybe win that contest. But what you're experiencing tonight is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. This can never happen again at this school with this conductor. One time. And to get to this one time took a minimum of documentation from 7 years of experience. It's not one shot at one contest and one city, it's 7 years. And that starts with requiring letters from at least 3 nationally known conductors that are familiar with the program. These letters, along with a whole lot of letter documentation, are put in a big book. It includes documentation of what you did at things like Superstate, things of what kids in All-State, kids in solo ensemble, any kind of national or regional performances like State Conference or Midwest. All these things to show that you're different than the average school. You have to document at least 10 major works that you've played in the last 3 years and show all that history. And it's a book. I don't know if she still has that book, but it's serious. And those books get sent to me. Along with those books, I get sent a CD. And online, but it's sent to me in electronic form. On that CD must be a standard march. There must be an original band work, and there must be an orchestral transcription from the classical or romantic period. Once I get all the applications in, I have a lady that I send the recordings to, and she puts them in order. Takes all the names off the recording. Nobody has any idea who they're hearing. It's number 1, 2, through how many have applied for that year. And then I send them to the committee. The committee happens to be made up of everyone who's living, who's ever earned this award. So right now, there's about 27 people on that committee. They're all still either actively teaching or just retired and very active, still doing things. They get those in early October. They have from October till Friday of Midwest to scrutinize those recordings. They can listen to them as many times as they want, make all the notes they want. When they come to the meeting on Friday afternoon at Midwest, they come in the door, and laying on the table is a list that has all the numbers of the number of people that applied, and they walk in, and before they sit down, they write yes, no, for each of the numbers in their opinion. They still have no idea who they're voting for or who they've heard. They then sit down at the table and scrutinize all the books to make sure that the books really document all the things for that program. And once they sign off on the books and say, yes, this is a program that has value, then we go back and tally the votes of what they just did and tell them who they selected. They have no idea until after it's overdone who the selection is. It's about as fair and honest a process as I can possibly imagine. And again, out of 25,000 high schools, for over 40 years, there are 87 of these flags. You students, past students, parents, administrative people should be very proud of what you have here. And please take care of it. Students are going to bring the flag out now, I believe.